Hi guys, in this video we're going to introduce the IFS function, which is a play off of the if function and is new in Excel 2019. So if you're not familiar with the if function, you might want to go check out my video on Jalair Academy on the if function. Actually, I have quite a few of them, and you want to get that logic down. It's a very powerful function that anyone using spreadsheet software should be familiar with. Okay. Presuming that you understand the if function, or that you paused this and went and watched and brushed up on that, you're back here and we're going to work on the ifs function, which is just the pluralized version of the if function. So what does it do? So I've set up a couple conditions here, which I'm going to test, and we're going to run it here. So equals ifs. So you can provide multiple logical tests and values if true. So after each logical test, you give a value if true, and it will return that to you. You can type words and quotes, a string for example, or you can actually have Excel compute something if the first test is true. And since we're going to be doing multiple tests here, hence the S in ifs, the way this function works is that the first test that is true, you'll get the value if true of that particular test. Okay, so it won't go on and evaluate the rest. Okay, so the order that you put these tests in is important. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, and I'll play around with a scenario where this will be important for us. Okay, so first I'm going to check if this is greater than this. Okay, I clearly see it's not, so if it was, I would get row 1 true. Next, I'm going to test if this equals this. Clearly, I see that's not going to be true as well, but again, imagine a scenario where you're trying to automate this and not doing it by eye. And finally, we're going to check if this equals this. So you see directly after each test, I have the value if true, which is in my control. So row 3 true. So let me highlight this. Test, value if true. Test 2, value if true. Test 3, value if true. I could keep going on and on. The way it's going to work is the first test that's true, we're going to get the value if true, which is directly following it. So if the first one's true, we're going to get row 1 true, and it won't go on to evaluate the rest of these. Okay? If it's not true, it'll go on until it finds something that's true. If there's nothing that's true, we'll get a false. Let's hit enter and let's see what happens. Okay, clearly we saw that this test failed because 20 is not greater than 25. This failed because A does not equal B, but the final test passed, therefore we got row 3 true. Now what if the second test passed, for example? If I make this an A, you recall, I test if this cell equals this cell. So before I was failing and it moved on, but this time it's going to pass. Let's see what happens. See the formula, the ifs formula updates, and it gives me row 2 true, which, these are my rows, right? It's because this test came before this one, this gets evaluated. Okay, now let's do one last thing and see what happens if all my tests are false. Let's see what Excel in this ifs function returns. So equals B, that one fails. Let's say C equals 55. Of course, that's not equal, so I get an NA. Okay, if you don't like an NA, you can use if NA. You can nest this ifs in if NA, and you can say whatever you like. All fail, for example. Notice how I went here and I put a little comma after my ifs, and I put what to return if the first argument, which is this whole ifs, is NA, which is not available, right? So hit enter and I get all fail. That's a nice way to kind of connect these two functions. So ifs nested inside of if NA gives you control if all your tests fail. Otherwise, if one of them passes, it's the first one that passes in the order that you type them, which show where you're going to see the results from. Okay, so this is new in Excel 2019. It gives you a new way to kind of play around with logical tests. Hope this was helpful. Till next time, be sure to subscribe, like, and share, and check out the rest of my tutorial videos on Jaleo Academy. Have a great day.